baby. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, baby, and I stand my ground, and I won't back down. Thank you. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, baby, and stand my ground, and I won't back down. Now I know what it's like, and I just have one life in a world that keeps on pushing me.
Hey, it's James Kalm, your half-assed reporter, and we're back. Very windy west side of Chelsea. And we're going to run in and take a look at an Eric Fischl exhibition titled Late America. At least that's where we're going to start. Well, we'll start out looking at this piece. It's titled Feeding the Turtle. .66 by 78 inches. Well, I've had several people suggest, complain, advise that I should move the camera slower. So I'm going to try to slow this down a little bit and let you enjoy some of the brush strokes. Actually, I was noticing that one of the things all these paintings have in common is that they're based around swimming pools. And, well, I think Eric has done a very good job of kind of pulling out particular themes that really resonate with a type of America that he's dealing with. Well, I guess there's only about maybe 5 or 6 paintings in the show. And, well, one of the other things I think is interesting is that I keep talking about Skarstedt. I like their program, but it seems like they are kind of collecting a little enclave of 1980s painting stars. So they've got David Solly. We went up and saw George Condo's show a couple of weeks ago. Eric Fischl. And it'll be interesting to see who else they're able to corral. Actually, I think I kind of like what Eric is doing with some of these new pieces. They're very fresh. I don't know, very facile. he's got a great kind of a quick technique. But the other thing I enjoy is that it seems like he's spending a little more time working on his figures, and some of these are actually very nice portraits, figure studies. And while I'm a big fan of academic painting, spent a lot of time in the Louvre, and one of the things I always admired about some of the old masters is that you could always tell where they were concentrating their attentions by the kind of the thickness of the paint and the overworked quality, the kind of licked, studied parts of the painting. Also, I think there's some nice, simple color things happening. This is titled Daddy's Girl, Age 11. Well, I don't want to get into psychoanalyzing the meanings of the paintings, although here we have kind of a pre-pubescent girl with a big dog, and well, they say this is Daddy's girl. But let's see what kind of magazine Daddy's looking at. Something detox, da-da-da. But again, he's laying in his main background elements. Very quick, nice broad strokes, not spending a lot of time articulating the massed forms, but the figures are very nice, and I get some nice light qualities happening there. More nice kind of color notes. This piece is 84 by 108 inches. I hope I'm moving slow enough. Well, this is also interesting because I think in a lot of ways this is kind of Eric returning to a type of subject matter that he got recognized for in the 80s. So we've got a little figure here of a boy with a American flag towel. I don't know whether that's a real American flag. Guess it doesn't matter. And yeah, he's looking at this male figure. They're calling this piece is Late America. And so this, I guess it's a male figure, is naked. You see, the feet are nice. Now, I know that one of his last shows, he was photoshopping pictures of people in an interior. I think it might have even been some house in Germany. And, well, there's a certain kind of flatness to these interior figures. But I think he is doing a pretty good job of capturing the sense of these figures out in the sunlight. This is 80 by 98 inches, 2016. Okay, this is where he lets his painterly skills come through. He's got a little bleed, a little drip on his water. And again, these figures in the background are just almost suggestions. A few strokes of paint. But the lemon green is nice. And this is titled Face Off. 2017 oil on linen, 78 by 107 inches. And, gee, I think I saw this guy just walk out of the gallery. Well, I was just thinking back to a show that I saw by Eric, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, of matadors, and I was just commenting here to a friend that I don't know whether that was a high point or a low point, but I guess as far as if you like real kitsch, you have to get it from somebody that doesn't really understand or doesn't know that they're making kitsch. And well, I guess you could go back and I think I might have done a report on the matadors, but it's nice to see him get back to his more usual subject matter. Well, and this background is almost sketched in. It's almost like splashed in like watercolors. But again, you know, the figures are done, although they are very quick, facile, brushy. They really stand out against the background. And like I was saying, I think we looked at one of his well-known pieces that was included in the Fast Forward American Painting of the 80s up at the Whitney. And at that point I made the comment that people had compared his kind of figure studies to Manet. And, well, a lot of people think Manet was the first modern painter, but he got a lot of grief because kind of flattened out his forms and was doing very kind of slapdash style. Okay, so it's a quick run through of Eric Fischl, White America. Here at Skarstedt and the west end of Chelsea. I'm gonna roll on. we're gonna run into
and stand my
Zwirner. And look at an exhibition by Llyn Foulkes.
well, I'll stand my ground and I won't back down. But baby, hey baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey baby, and stand my ground, my baby.
Well, I'm not completely sure, but I think this is probably Lynn's first show here with Zwirner. And, well, that's a pretty good move. Well, I think Llyn Foulkes is maybe one of the more interesting of the California artists. And a lot of these works we've seen. I did a report on his one-man show at the New Museum. I don't know, it's maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point. But Lynn was one of the founding members of the Ferris Gallery. This piece is Untitled, 1963. Oil and acrylic and crayon on canvas, 60 by 63. Well, this front gallery is all paintings, I guess, from the early 60s that are based on postcards from Death Valley. This piece is titled Death Valley, California, 1964, oil and acrylic on canvas. So in that sense, I guess this is kind of referencing pop art. Although, yeah, it looks like it's got a little crackle. This painting is dedicated to the American. This painting is, okay. Well, I think one of the other interesting things is that Lynn was using kind of a technique of, it's like frottage. This is titled The Splash. This is 1984, acrylic on canvas. Well, when I said frottage, I think if we get up closely, you can see these kind of it's like a texture of fabric. So I think Lynn would lay in his colors and then have some kind of a textural thing, maybe bundles of towels or even blue jeans or something that he would rub they would be laying underneath, and then he would rub the surface and kind of create an image of the underlying textures. It's 72 by 96. This is titled Knob Hill, 1964-65. .65.5 by 107. And again, we'll look at the frottage. And Lynn is also doing a lot of kind of glazing. I think there's also a certain kind of formalism that he's getting to with his framing elements. And, well, a lot of this has allegorical references to body parts, maybe. Actually, that's almost pornographic. Well, this gallery are mostly from his series called Bloody Head Portraits. And I'm not going to give you the titles of all of these because there are so many of them. I'll get up and show you a few. Oh, this is nice. I got a little postcard collaged in there. Now, I know that Lynn is probably a great example of an artist that came into fashion, got very popular back in the early mid-'60s with a lot of the other Ferris Gallery people. Okay, geez, I've got to get his address down there. 6010 Eucalyptus Lane. And maybe he and Ed Ruscha would be the most pop artish LA artists from the early mid-'60s that have still survived. It's titled Portrait of Walt Disney, 20 by 16 inches. This one also has collage elements. It's 1985. You know, they had a whole gallery full of these at the New Museum. Titled Las Flores 2006. So this would be one of the most recent pieces in the show, but we've actually got real hair. Now, I think Lynn has done some dioramas that are fantastic. It's called Two Oob Earworks. And, well, I think maybe one of the things that is unique about Lynn is his bas-relief pieces. So this one has got a lot of carving, mixed media on board and artist frame. And, well, Lynn is also obsessed with Walt Disney, and I've often commented about how different the kind of the mindset of California artists are, but if you were coming from a world of Walt Disney and Watts Towers, and you were somehow Big Daddy Roth, and you were somehow the progeny of those people, you'd have a little different view of the world. And this is titled Where Did I Go Wrong? So we've got his Clark Kent figure. And then we've got the Death Valley landscape behind him. This little partridge is collaged in. That's 1991. Well, as I was saying, Lynn is one of these artists who had a kind of burst on the scene and was very hot. This is the last postcard, 1975. Carte postale, 19 by 16 inches, 1975. Anyway, he kind of had some more obscure times. And this is titled Old Glory, 1996 to 2001, 2003. And because he just kept cranking away and sort of developing his own unique, weird style, he gradually worked himself back into the spotlight. You know, a lot of people say there are no second acts in American life, but I think Lynn would, and his career would dispute that. This is actually 39 by 46 inches. Oil and mixed media on board in artist's frame. And, well, there's a certain kind of abjectness to this. It's like the background, the frame was made out of maybe a discarded blackboard. I don't know, I see the little holes drilled in there. Who's on third? Oil on board, 48 by 39. And this is more of the bloody head. Although I think Lynn is using some airbrush in there, maybe. More of the frottage. 1971 to 73. Now I remember seeing one of his pieces at the retrospective that actually had a fetus, and I looked at it originally and thought, geez, somebody did a great job of fabricating a fetus, but then when I looked at the media, it said that it actually included a fetus. This is titled Artificial. Okay, well, it's like a dynamite dildo there, maybe. And I think Linda's got a real, I shouldn't say twisted sense of humor, but a very strange and whimsical sense of humor with maybe a certain kind of a dark side. We're going to wrap up looking at this piece. This is titled Big Sur 1984. And, well, he puts a lot of his techniques and subject matters together for this one. So we've got our frotaged, I don't know what that is, a piece of petrified forest. Looks like that's actually a sign that he's collaged in there, a metal sign. And photographs. This is mixed media on canvas, 108 by 65. And I would recommend, if you have the time, get your hands on the Llyn Foulkes documentary. I think it came out about 4 or 5 years ago. And they really delve into his career and how he's, just through his pure force of will, has come back and, gosh, has ended up here at the Zwirner Gallery. See, that's maybe one of the top 2 or 3 galleries in New York City, so it's an exhibition of the works of Llyn Foulkes here at Zwirner, 525 West 19th Street in Chelsea. Well, rather than running all over town, we're just going to step next door to the annex garage for Zwirner and look at the explosive short T by Raymond Pettibon. Okay, well, if I'm not mistaken, I came into this very gallery probably 6 or 7 years ago, and covered a show then by Raymond Pettibon. Well, I'm not going to have time to give you the titles of all these, but all this is works on paper, drawings, mixed media. Oh, this is nice. So it's got some clotted paper that he's added on there. Maybe those are from blotting the drawings. This is no title. When the winter air was too cold and we wet for fight, Arbon would turn on the nights like these his trigger finger to test the air. Okay. Well, I think Raymond Pettibon is maybe one of the, I guess what I would call the former New Wave California artists. We're talking about Llyn Foulkes and the Ferris Gallery. And that whole group, but that was starting out in maybe the mid-60s. So I guess about 1990, 93 or 4, there's a whole bunch of artists that started getting attention in California. And some of this was coming through Juxtapose magazine. Rereading Pettibon. I started seeing a lot of his work probably maybe in the late 90s at art fairs and things. And as with all the advantage of education or acquaintance among them, so a lot of these almost have little snippets of poetry and things in there. And I think that Raymond's brother might have been involved somehow with a punk rock group called Black Flag. I don't know. But I've been talking about a group of artists in Brooklyn who were doing what I called meta drawing. Don Clemens, William Pajeda, this is nice. We've got all kinds of paper plates and things sort of glued on there. And I think that Pettibon could be kind of a California version of that. I know I covered a show of his surf works. I guess it was up at Venus over Manhattan maybe 2.5 years ago. think it's interesting. He mixes a lot of things together, kind of bad do-it-yourself graphics. Kind of lowbrow cartoons. Cheap graphic novels, maybe. He's quite a wonderful draftsman. Just roughly estimate this piece is about a 4-foot square. Also, there is a lot of text. And, well, California is not just a land of bleached blondes, Huarache sandals, beaches, and surfers. There's a certain kind of sinister, dark side to that. Kind of a Day of the Locust side. And, yeah, the fact that LA and all of that and what it represents is also kind of setting the lifestyle. Oh, here's one of his surf pieces. It sounds powerful, but it's very, very powerful. And, well, I don't know. I haven't read the press release, but it looks like maybe Raymond came here, set up his little studio, and did the work right here. You can see the splashes of watercolor. Some good friend Uncle Joe. I too still look younger than I did in the first photograph I had taken in exile. Oddly enough, I didn't plan this, but we started out with Eric Fischl as a figurative artist. We went and saw Llyn Foulkes, who's also figurative, and we're wrapping up looking at Raymond Pettibon. And yeah, somehow there's kind of a relationship between what they're doing. I like this one where he's got the smaller sheets of different kinds of paper pasted together. So it looks like he's got some rough watercolor paper, maybe some Bristol board. My sister strong backing me, that recovery. Okay, so he spells about as good as I do, as well as I do. She paused to vault the high hydrant inferno. These are actually a couple of the odder pieces, these large, it's almost architectural, 400 years of toil, the New Cathedral. This actually makes me think of some of the outsider art that we've seen down at Andrew Edlin Gallery on the Bowery recently. I think there's also been a certain kind of controversies that have been raised by some of his work. And yeah, this is not exactly what I would call politically correct. Oh, gosh, I like this one. I have come to despise modern painting, regarding it as the lazy, sensual pleasure of the eye. Well, he is very graphically very inventive, and you can also see that he likes to play around with the medium a lot, the mediums. And I enjoy the collage elements that he's adding in there. Zapruder wasn't your garden variety filmmaker. He was what you'd call a hands-on director. Every shot had to be staged to his satisfaction. A true auteur. Okay. All right, this little section here is the most colorful. I would actually consider these paintings on paper. James Kalm wrapping up our little Saturday afternoon stroll through Chelsea here at David Zwirner, and we're looking at Raymond Pettibon, the explosive Shorty T 2017. And as always, join me, people, and post your comments below. Thank you, Kate.
Hey, baby, and I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down. And I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down.
That was great. What's your name?
Peter May.
Peter what?
Peter May. M-A-Y.
Peter May. Thanks, Peter
Facebook.
May. Thank you.
Got a guitar in back of me.